Guys, welcome to the 17th video. Yeah, and we're just going to continue from where we left off in the previous video, which is we're adding the test to a database. So this video will conclude that process in adding the test to a database. So yeah, this Ajax call will post it to the name of the PHP file. That means we must have a new PHP file which will handle the addition of the file of the test into a database. Sorry. So this file will be called maybe add tests.php. Good. So we're going to save this file in our PHP directory, not in our main directory, because it won't interact with any other page and it will just perform a specific function. So you just add it here. Yeah, and we're gonna open our PHP tags. Okay, so we're gonna pass in the new test, arrow, name, description, or mark, timer, and attempts to the new page. So yeah, and you're gonna get a response from the page in the form of a message. Yeah. So okay, so let's get started with this. So we are supposed to change this name of PHP file to PHP slash add test.php because it's inside the PHP folder and the name is add test and the extension is .php. All right, so yeah, let's go to our add test and get the data. Okay, so I'm gonna write this code to check if there is an actual data coming in. Okay, otherwise if you don't check that there is an actual data coming in and someone accesses this page directly, you might be in trouble. So check if the data, there is data coming in. Okay, if the data coming in as error, okay, and there is data coming in as this name, description. Oh, sorry, there is nothing, there is no data such as error. No, you're not passing anything called error. So just clean this. You can just make a name. Okay, so passing name, description, mark, timer, and attempts. Name, description, mark, timer, attempts. Else, if there is no data coming in, you exit this thing. All right. You can also log out if there is no data coming up. That means someone is trying to access this file remotely. So just ob start header, then location, log out the PHP, ob and flush, and you exit the page. Good. So yeah. So now if there is data actually coming in, let's go to the JS file and let me clean something. You're not getting the value. We don't even need this line. Yeah. So yeah, come to the PHP file and we're going to get the name into a variable called name, just like how we've done, and get the description. And we get the mark, and we get the timer, and we get the attempts. Yeah, so before we continue, let's come back to our JS file and do something really simple here. You remember that in the validate.js, I checked if the data was empty. All right, so we can do the same thing for this file too, which is the new test.js. So just check if name.trim is empty. All right, so you display the error. Else if description is empty, you display an error. Else if mark you display an error. Else if timer.trim you display an error. Else if the attempt is also empty. Display an error, that means none of them is empty. Then else you send the content to the PHP file. Alright, so yeah, so how do we display the error? Just like how we did in the validate.js, you can just copy the same thing and come here, and you can just type your name of test is required. Description of test is required. Overall grade, and use mark. Overall mark is required. The timer, time for timer is required. Then if the attempt is also empty, number of attempts is also required. So let's come back to our file. That means that we are not getting any empty string here. All right, so yeah, okay, so don't worry about that. So we're gonna get the name of the test and the description of the test and the O mark of the test and the time of the test and the attempt of the test. So let's add it. So first we need the connection, database connection. After we get the database connection, we have to now insert. Okay, so we just insert, and this could be changed to add. So our query to insert is insert into which table are we going to work with now? Is the tests table. So insert into tests. And which columns are we going to insert it into? We're going to insert it into the TID, the name, the description, the timer, the mark, attempt, and the A date and the A time. So we're going to insert it to TID, name, description. Oh, sorry, description is DISC. Okay, so always note that this is the name of the column, not your own name in your head. DISC, and we have the T mark, and we have the timer and the attempt, and you have the A date and A time. So you're going to insert how many values? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But then for the date and the time, we're going to insert something which is custom. That means we don't need to really prepare that one. So for the date, you can just write current date, CURDATE. Yeah, and for the time, we're going to format the time so that we can get the time in AM and PM. And also, please know that all times which are stored in MySQL are stored using the universal time, which is the one which runs through London, Ghana. All right, so yeah, that will be a time format, time underscore format, and you're going to pass in the current time, and you bring a comma, and you bring a single string. So we need the hour. Okay, then you bring H, then you bring I. It stands for the minutes. Okay, then you bring S, then you bring the single string again. Okay, so we get the hour and the time and the minute, and we get the AM or the PM. Okay, so yeah, you close this, and this add test will, yeah, you execute the query. So you need to get the teacher's ID, and because the teacher is already logged in, we have stored the ID inside the cookies. And for your information, if you want to find cookies, if you're using Chrome, you just go to Chrome // settings. Then you go to advanced, then you go to control content settings, sorry, click on cookies, and you click on see all cookies and data. Then you find localhost. Good. You found localhost. So we have 10 cookies. So we are saving ID. This is our cookie that we created. And we have 2. Why do we have 2? Because the one who is logged in is Stanley, and he has the ID of 2. Good. So if you log in as another person, the ID will change. Alright, so yeah. So we have to get the cookie. Okay. So you can also add a set cookie. That means cookie should also be available, else we shouldn't run this page. So the ID cookie is also set, and you can get your ID is equal to ID underscore cookie ID. Very simple. And yeah, so we need the ID of the teacher, and we need the name of the test, and we need the description, and we need the mark, and we need the timer. So I'm doing it according to the columns here. All right. So as a timer, we need the attempts. An attempt here is equal to attempts here. All right. So in our database, attempts, but then in our variables, attempts. So you bring a variable, then that is all. So if this query executes successfully, you bring another if statement around this. If this query executes, that is what it says. It returns a Boolean value, either true or false. If it executes successfully, it returns true, and we echo back to the JavaScript file that successfully added test. So if it is not successful, then we echo back that error adding test, or maybe you can also change it and type unable to add test. Please try again later. Okay, so yeah, so let's test our code now. If we successfully added test and unable to add test, it should show in our error. Okay, so you can write the code that if msj, which is the message, dot includes, okay, if it includes a line called successfully, that means it's successful. Okay, it should open the questions page, add question.php. Okay, so that the teacher can also add a question. Else, if it is not successful, it should show in the error and add the text as the message.